People were saying that out in the provinces it was so hot they could fry eggs on bare pavement. In Shanghai, the city was a tessellation of green shapes, simmering gardens and ponds. It was 45 degrees for the third day in a row. The air sat thick like hot fog on the lungs. On the cusp of drunk in the long, still rust-coloured evenings after work, we liked to go walking through the humid streets. Skyscrapers everywhere, long stalks of light shooting out of the ground. Too hot to move, we sometimes laid behind our eyelids all night and let sleep grope around for the soft parts of the mind, shadows scissored by a slit in the curtains. Our apartment was made up of 2 rooms and a hallway posing as a kitchen. We had a single set of keys, and when one left, the other had to come along or stay in the apartment like a captive. For the first few weeks, we lived in Spartan style among the skyscrapers and LED displays. 1 mug, 1 knife, 1 fork. Of the 2 rooms, only one had a light, and at night we were reduced to the bedroom and the kitchen, which had no working sink. Someone showered, the other waited to wash the only bowl in the bathroom sink so they could eat. Framed pictures of Evel Knievel, Jimi Hendrix, and some ugly dogs hung on the walls. We looked out our windows and saw huge slabs of dried fish hanging among our neighbours' washing. On our days off, we hailed cabs that flew along the elevated expressway trimmed in blue neon, its huge concrete pilings wrapped in light. We played charades in every restaurant, climbing chickens or cows or describing broccoli with our hands. Sometimes we just pointed at a line of writing and hoped. We met friends in the park and sat on the balcony in our apartment to write, splitting sunflower seeds with teeth and nails. Tiny bats came at dusk to do laps of the courtyard, their manic wings snapping through the air. All summer I saw only blue skies and sun. It seemed like the least polluted place I'd ever seen, everything cleaned of meaning. "Hurry," I said, pressing into him in my thin singlet and skirt, skin pale from spending the winter months indoors the way Australians never do. Damp licks of hair on my forehead sat at odd angles. In the foyer, 2 of our neighbours stood sweating, wrenching the door handle. It wouldn't come open. They demonstrated to us that some tiny part of the lock or hinge had broken. We seemed to fill the space, our backpacks clunky with beer cans, the sound of our rush downstairs seething in the air thickly. 5 or 6 push bikes were leant against the walls, so we stood upright in the heat and shifted from one foot to the other as more people came down. I turned. "Might as well go back up." "No," he said. "Everyone's waiting for us. They'll get it open." A tall man from the 4th floor shook the lock until the door rattled on its hinges. "No good," said Wu from the apartment next to ours. He and I nodded at each other. "No good." "Ni hao," we said to every person who arrived. We all shook hands. "Ni hao, ni hao." "Bu hais," I said to a man when I stepped back on his foot. Thumbs up from Wu. Smiles all around. People were happy to hear us be terrible at their language. "The beer's getting warm," I said. He opened the backpack and offered a can to the nearest person. Soon we were all standing in the close heat drinking Qingdao. Our friends waited in the street, letting cab after cab go by. "Let me try," he said. I watched him, all glossy with sweat under my eyes, while he put his whole weight against the door and tried the same thing as all the others, and it didn't work. Nothing worked. So we stood around talking quietly in the waxy heat. And when the door came open an hour later, the sky rushed in like a blue hallucination and the city remembered us.